Good morning, how you doing? Ooh, this bridge is bouncy. It's Phil Thatch and I am in Dayton, Tennessee this morning. And I don't know if you can see it in the shot, but I am wearing hip waders. And I've got an idea for a photograph that I've been wanting to make for a long time. And I'm finally gonna do it, or I'm gonna try to do it. I'm here this morning with the Nikon D850. And right now I have the 24-70 on, and if that doesn't work, then I'll have to hike all the way back to the car and switch lenses. I don't want to walk out into the lake with these hip waders on and my camera gear backpack on my back. So if I fall in, I'm just going to mess up one camera and one lens, not my entire Nikon F-series collection. But first thing I got to do is hike out there. It's a little ways through this park to get to where I'm trying to go, and I'll rejoin you in just a moment. It's a little sunnier than I was hoping, and really I got here probably 30 minutes later than I would have liked. But this cypress tree right here, growing out of the water, has this little edge where the branches kind of clear away to see the trunk. I really would like to have moved around to the right a little bit, but you can't see the trunk like that. I've got the D850 really down low. I mean, my hand's touching water right there. And I'm shooting 25 seconds. I have the Maven 10-stop filter on. I'm shooting at f11, 25 seconds of this beautiful cypress tree. And I walked all the way across this body of water right here, and like right now, the water's not quite up to my shins, but it was well above my knees in the middle. And man, the dirt at the bottom of this is so soft. I was trying to kind of getting stuck. But anyway, I'm gonna keep working. Let's see how this one turns out. Working on another shot now, and my tripod is so low that the knob on my geared head is actually touching the water. I've switched to shooting 30 seconds ISO 64 f11 with the Maven 10-stop filter. And like I said in the clip below, the knob on the bottom of my geared head is touching the water. I'm trying to get a reflection of the tree. There's some wispy clouds, which I think the 30-second exposure might make look nice. Here's the first shot of the day, and there's a number of things I like about it. I like the colors in this. I like the way the clouds look over here, and I like the way the tree looks, really. I don't like that these trees over here have the same amount of light on them as my subject tree, so you can't really see a lot of separation. I like the separation with the trees on the right-hand side of the frame. Really happy with the reflection. I don't like all of this clutter in the water. Not a whole lot I could do about that. But the biggest problem is this photograph is not in focus. I was trying to focus through the 10-stop filter, and it was getting fairly close, but it really critically is not in focus. Later I realized that I could easily pull that Maven 10-stop filter off, get my focus, and then snap it right back on with the magnetics and make my shot. So I won't make that mistake again. And this is not actually the tree that I was there to photograph. And after I made this shot, I decided to make an attempt to actually make it out to that tree. So way back there, probably, I don't know, 75, maybe 100 yards back is the trees that I was photographing. But the tree that I actually came to photograph is way out here in the middle. And I think I'm going to try to make it. Right now I'm about, I guess you could describe it as nuts deep. And hopefully it doesn't get too much deeper as I head out that way. I've got my tripod maximum height, and so if I start to fall, I'll just jab my tripod into the ground, because the deeper it gets, the harder it is to walk in this thick mud in the bottom of this. There's also a milfoil, I believe is what it's called, an aquatic plant that people have in their ponds, and now it's invasive and all over Chickamauga Lake. But anyway, I'm going to press on. I'm getting closer now. I think I'm going to make it. And you know, normally I get somewhere between 10 and 15,000 steps a day. And I know I don't have anywhere near that this morning, but normally I'm not walking in gushy mud that sinks my feet into the water or into the mud 6 or 8 inches every step. And even though I probably haven't walked but a quarter mile in this, I am tired and my legs are sore, but let's keep going. So the idea with this shot is to get the little tree in the shot with the background light on it, kind of giving it a little halo, and the background behind the little tree being extremely dark because the sun's not on it yet, and even the reflections on the water also being extremely dark. The trouble is, even at 70 millimeters, I can't get all of that in the shot. Parts of brightness come out, so I'm going to have to do this again in order to get this shot and come back with my 70 to 200. But in the meantime, I'm still going to see what I can do with the 24 to 70, and now I'm glad I didn't bring the 16 to 35 for my walk out here into the water. But next time, 70 to 200. So there was a bunch of just crap all around the tree, and it didn't grow there. It had just been jabbed into the ground there. So sorry if I messed up whatever it was you put that there for, whoever put it there, but I grabbed it and moved it over here. So the shot is nice and clear and beautiful now. This old D850 does not focus very well through a 10-stop filter, and that's why having these magnetic filters is so handy, because I can pull the 10-stop off, get my focus, put the 10-stop back on, and make my shot, which I think I've got it on a longer than 2-second timer, but that's fine. I'm shooting this one at 20 seconds f11, ISO 64, and I've got some sky in the shot, in the above where the sky actually is, and in the reflection. And so what I'm doing is exposing for the sky so I don't blow the sky completely out, and then I can either crop the sky out of the shot, which is probably what I'll end up doing, or I might edit the sky. So we'll see. So this one is 38 millimeters, 20 seconds f11, ISO 64. And I've got the tree kind of side lit, which is nice. And these trees in the background are mostly in shade, so that gives me the separation that I wanted. But I don't know, I need to go and work on this again. I'm still pretty happy with it, and I like the way it turned out overall, but I think it could definitely be better. This is an amazing tree, and I hope to go back and shoot it a few more times until I really get a great shot. You can see houses in the background up on the hill, which is kind of interesting. I like the position of the shoreline, kind of right at the top of the trunk and right at the bottom of the foliage of the tree. I think that turned out pretty good. But anyway, definitely room for improvement. I'm still futzing around trying to get a composition that I like, and now I have raised my tripod as high as it will go, and I've gone vertical with my D850, so I'm so glad that I bought a L bracket for this camera. I've got a downward angle shot, just slightly downward angle, trying to get the sky out of it as much as possible and have as much reflection as possible. So let's see how that looks. Still using the Maven 10-stop. I think this may be my favorite composition of this little tree that I've driven an hour to photograph so far, this vertical composition. I've increased my shutter speed to 20 seconds just now because I definitely had room on the right hand side of my histogram. So let's see how that turns out. But in case you're curious, the reason I'm using a 10-stop filter is so I can get these long exposures. And what I'm trying to do is make this water as slick as possible. Now there's virtually no wind out here this morning, but there are still some ripples in this little lake. And the good news about no wind is the tree's not moving around at all, or virtually none at all. But because there are some little ripples, I'm doing these long exposures, 20 seconds on the last one I shot, trying to make this water as smooth as possible. So even though it's not going to be a huge difference between if I did this with a fast shutter speed, it still is going to be some difference. And so that's why I'm using the filter this morning. So this is the vertical shot, and as you can see, I've got my camera up higher, so the shoreline is cutting through the foliage of the tree instead of being right here like it was in the other shot. And this is right around a 4x5 crop, and it's all right. It's 20 seconds, 70 millimeters f11, but what I did was I put this into Photoshop and made it into a 16:9 and just let AI make the rest of the picture. So here's what AI came up with. You can see on this one, AI made this shadow, which is not perfect, and AI made all this light coming through on these trees. I didn't put that in there, and there's no houses in the background. So that's pretty cool. It is huge in terms of resolution, 13740 by 779. But I think I like this real one, even with the houses in the background. I think I like the real one better than the one where I just close up the tree and AI did the rest. Real photography for the win. Heather and I came here, I think, with Ron Durant 3 or 4 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. We went over there to Dayton Park, which is a place we come often since then to do bird photography. But when we came driving in, Heather saw this tree out here just growing in the middle of the water, which cypress trees are great at. This is kind of their natural habitat. And, you know, we took a lot of pictures of it with 500 millimeter lenses on APS-C cameras from so far away. And it was kind of at that moment that I hatched the idea in my head, someday I'm going to walk out there in waders and touch this little tree. And today is that day. So even though I think I probably would have done better with this shot if I had shot it from a little bit further back, not 500 millimeters further back, but a little bit further back with a 70 to 200 lens, or even maybe a 24 to 105, which I need to buy Ray's 24 to 105 at some point. I still am pretty happy, at least I think. I haven't seen it on the computer monitor. I think I'm still pretty happy with that shot that I made with the 24 to 70 from a high angle. But with the 70 to 200, I might be able to compress the scene and get the sky out of the shot from over the trees in the background and shoot down low and have even better. I keep seeing green herons flying around all over the place. And I've seen there's 2 green herons flying by, and I've seen a bunch of kingfishers as well. I would love to come out here. I think Ron Durant has a kayak and comes out here and does bird photography from his kayak. I would love to do that at some point, but that's for another day. But thank you so much for tuning in for this little hip wader photography adventure using my new used Nikon D850 Maven filters and the 24 to 70 f2.8G lens. If you enjoyed it, reach down, hit the thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot. If you want to see some more photography of this nature and just all kinds of photography, subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye from the middle of a body of water in hip waders. I've got a couple of bonus photographs for you that I made with the D850 and the 200 to 500. I left the lake and I went to try to do a little bit of bird photography, and I didn't find many birds, but I did find this beautiful wildflower, and I made this 500 millimeter shot of it, 1/1600th f8 ISO 640. I had auto ISO on for this, and I like the way this turned out quite a bit. And in the location where I was going to do bird photography, I found this stump, and I thought, man, if I just stand here for a while, something's going to fly up and land on this stump. But it never did. Actually, some tree swallows did, but they were around on the side and I couldn't really get a good shot of them. So I took the 200 to 500 down to 200 millimeters and made this shot 1/1600th f6.3 and ISO 560. And I think this turned out pretty nice for just a handheld, try to make a shot of a stump shot. I kind of like it. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.